Hello friends, thank you for watching this video. I am Mohamad and today we're going to be doing some really interesting video. We're going to be actually getting some code generated by an AI and we're going to be implementing it and see how actually usable it is, how it can actually be utilized, what could be some of the benefits that utilizing that AI tool in order for us to actually get started with it, and how we can actually utilize it to understand some of the concepts that we need in order for us to create our web application, our console application, so on and so forth. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. It will really help the channel. As well, if you'd like to support me, please consider supporting me on Patreon or buying me a coffee. Now, grab your cup of coffee and let's get started. We're going to be utilizing AI in order for us to actually write some code and actually verify its work, see how it actually approaches certain aspect of our code. We're going to be giving different scenario and we're going to be seeing what code the AI will generate, and then we're going to be taking that code, putting it in our .NET application and actually running it and see actually how it performs. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be actually utilizing ChatGPT, which is going to be an AI which is provided by the OpenAI platform, and it's going to allow us to actually ask the AI to write some code for us. We're going to take that code and then we're going to be actually implementing it inside our .NET application. We're going to be running it and actually see the validity of that code. We're going to be giving the AI different types of examples that it needs to generate for us, and we're going to be implementing it one by one. And the platform or the AI platform that we're going to be utilizing is going to be ChatGPT, which is going to be provided by the OpenAI. It's a free software or basically free service that you can actually utilize. All you need to do is just go to openai.com, and then once you are there, all you need to do is just click on try ChatGPT. It's going to require you to actually register and have an account, but other than that, it's completely free to use. And once you're registered and everything is set up, you're going to be actually seeing something like this. And here you can see all you're going to have to do is you're going to have like some kind of a chat text box where all you need to do is basically input whatever commands that you need, and basically the AI will be able to pick it up. So for example, before we start with anything related to code, let us just ask anything regarding to any random question just to basically familiarize ourselves with it. So we can start, for example, what is the best programming language? And we can see it's already started replying to us and it's giving us some information about it. And basically whatever we ask here, we can either say that we like the response or we dislike the response. And whatever information that we actually ask or whatever information that we actually provide, it will help to train the AI. So for example, if the response that we are getting is actually valid and it actually fits with our needs, it will basically train the AI or basically give more information to the AI to give much more accurate answer. And this is all part of the machine learning process. So at the end of the day, the data sets that the AI is all based upon, it basically scans the entire networks of information across the internet, and it's gathered this data and basically it processes it in a way in something called supervised learning and unsupervised learning. That's completely different topics, and basically it trained itself in order for us for it to be actually to provide this information for us. It's much more complicated than that. This is way much simplifications, but it's something like how it works. And basically when we give it a thumbs up or thumbs down, it will help with the classification of the answers. So if this classification is right, it will basically make sure it validates its information. If not, it will help correct this information for down the road. I just thought I mentioned that so we understand why are we giving the thumbs up or down here. So let us try with a very simple example. Or first, let's say, what is .NET? Let's see if it's going to be able to pick that up. Let's say like this, .NET. See, it's already started to be able to pick up some information. Okay. Perfect. It's all provided by Microsoft. Okay, let's give it that's right. Okay, so what else should we give it? So let's start asking it by some question. Create a calculator app in .NET. Let's see how that will work. And as we can see here, while it's generating our code for us, all we did in order for us to get here, all we did is just input a simple line. And this is fascinating. It's able to actually give us all of this. Okay, now that is actually creating it. Let's see. What we can do is, now let's try to test it out to see if it actually works or not. So I'm gonna click copy code. And inside my Visual Studio Code, all I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be creating a new console application. So I'm just going to say .NET, new console. Is this visible? Let's zoom in a bit. Okay, maybe we need to increase the font size just before we... So it's visible. So go to settings. And let's put the font size here. Let's say 34. 34. I think it's too big, 34, let's make it 26. 26. Yeah, I think that should be fine. So let's save this. And let's close this. Okay. So all we're gonna say, .NET new console application. And we're gonna give it a name, calculator app. And that's all we're going to be doing. We're going to create an empty console, and we can see here that a console application has been created for us. And this is basically here, if we look at the CS Proj, we can see that it's utilizing .NET 7. So that means that it's going to be utilizing the top level statement out of the box. We can change that, that's fine. But we can also take whatever exists here and make it in a top level statement. So what we're going to be doing is let's delete this. And let's hide this for now. We don't really need it. So it will have a much more better real estate. And let's take this. So let's copy the code here that's actually provided for us. Copy, and let's put it here. Okay, perfect. So let's save this right now. And let's go to the calculator app. And all I'm gonna do is just .NET build for now. Perfect, we can see that it's actually building correctly. And now let's run it. .NET run. Okay, so it's asking me for my first number. I'm gonna put 3. Second number, I'm gonna put 8. What type of operation do I wanna do? I'm gonna go to the star. And we can see here, I got a response. 3 multiplied by 8 is 24, which is actually correct. And to be fair, it's actually very impressive that within a single line of code, with a single line of command on OpenAI, I was able to actually get a full-fledged calculator app running. Yes, it has it's not perfect. Still have a lot of items that we need to figure it out. But it's basically, it gives me a good boilerplate code to get started and basically jump from there. So if you take a look here, so you might think to yourself, okay, that's fully working. What is another potential enhancement that I need to do? So for example here, if we, I'm not sure what happened there. Okay, so for example here, let's run this application again. And it's gonna ask me enter your first number. So what happens if I input A? Exactly, it crashes. Why? Because it's expecting a number and the user might not be able to input a number. So the parsing of an integer here, so this might not be correct because we're not actually validating if it's actually a number or not. Or simply, it's not even if we input a character. Let's say if we enter an empty number or just click enter without inputting anything. That also can crash. So we can see here that the code that's actually providing us, it's an actually valid code. It has all of the right functionalities that we are expecting from a calculator app, but it is a basic elementary performance or basic elementary implementation because it has still a lot of the edge cases that we need to actually verify, a lot of the edge cases that we need to actually make sure we are covered when we're creating any types of application. But in general, it's a very good boilerplate code. So for that, that's a very good work for the AI. So now that we have created a simple calculator servers, let's take it a bit more advanced than that. So now let's click here, and I want to basically ask the AI right now to create a API with a CRUD operation. So let's see how it does that. So we can say create API for a to-do list, let's say, for a to-do list in .NET. Let's see. Okay. Okay, we can see it's using an in-memory database. Okay. So what we're going to be doing right now, let's clear this. Let's go back here. Okay, so now we have the calculator app. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a web API. So we're going to put .NET new web API -n. We're going to be calling it, what did it call? Let's use the same naming convention just to make it easy. To-do list API. Let's copy this. And let's run this. Perfect. Now let's go to the to-do list API. And I'm just going to do .NET build. And now if I come here, first of all, you can see my calculator app. Now I have here my to-do list API. And once I open this, you can see that I have a normal API. And we can take a look that it's a .NET 7 one. Perfect. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna basically clean this. We don't need it actually. Let's leave it as is. Let's create a new class. We're gonna put new file and we're gonna call this to-do list controller, similar as what the AI have created .cs. And now all I'm gonna be doing is I'm just gonna copy everything here. I'm gonna paste it here. I didn't do anything else. All I did is just create a simple controller. Let me hide this. And let us verify that this is working by doing a .NET build first. Okay, we have an error. Let's see what the error is. It says that from body. Let's see, where do we have from body here? Okay, I'm not sure why it's not accepting the from body here. Let's click on this. Let us remove this for a bit. Let's hide this. And let us try again. Okay. Okay, so first of all, we don't need these. It's referring to an older version, and here we're gonna say controller base. It doesn't know what controller base is. I can't remember what is the, let's see here. Let's make it something similar to this. Where is this? Okay. Let's copy this. Microsoft ASP.NET Core MVC. So using Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.MVC. And we can see here that this one is using controller base as well. So that should work. Let's run this again. Okay, it's running. Let's close this. So basically what we did here is we just adjusted it. So one of the main issues that we currently have found here is the version of the .NET API that's created for us. It was based on the .NET framework because it referenced system.web. And basically, once it created that, you have some compatibility issue because we are utilizing the latest version of we're using the latest version of the .NET framework here. We're utilizing .NET Core 7. And that did not work. So we needed to actually refer to the actual namespaces. We're utilizing Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.MVC in order for it to work. And then we actually utilized the controller base class instead of the API controller that it has provided for us. So that's one item. But other than those small configuration changes that we had to do, let us see now how it actually performs. So let's put .NET run. And because we have created here an application utilizing ASP.NET 7, ASP.NET Core 7, and we utilize the boilerplate code, if we take a look at the program.cs, not this program.cs, the program.cs inside our web application, we can see that we have a Swagger implementation, which makes it really easy for us to see all of these endpoints. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to take this endpoint, and let's go here to my web browser. I'm just going to put /swagger /index.html, and here we can see it did not show up. I wonder why it did not show up. So we need to add these references here. So that's another item that it did not work. So now let's stop this again and let's run it. And now let's refresh and we should be able to see it right now. Okay, it's not happy with it. So the other item here is we're not actually specifying the attribute. So we need to put HTTP get. Let's copy these. Let's make this HTTP post. We already have this one here. This is a post, yeah. This is a delete. And let's try. Let's stop this. Let's run. And let's refresh. And you can see here that we got our to-do item. Let's zoom in a bit. Yeah. So you can see here that we got the basic items. We got the get, we got the post, and we got the delete. So although this API right now, or the source code that the API has generated for us, it's actually technically working, or basically technically correct, we had to do a lot of fixing within the boilerplate code that has been generated. So because I think we're utilizing here a web framework rather than a console application, the AI was not actually able to figure out all of the right information, or basically all the right configuration for that framework. And basically we had to do a lot of the work ourselves in order for it to make it work. But let us do some experimentation with it. Then we're going to be tweaking the commands from the AI in order to see if we can actually get the right version. So let's just try it out. So I'm going to get all, execute, it's empty. Let's add one. So value here we can say, let's say go to the gym. Let's execute, and we can see here we got a 200. And now if I click on execute, we can see that I have go to the gym. Perfect. And for the to-do list, so for the ID, I'm just going to put ID 1. I'm not sure if it will work. And we got a 500 because it does not know what ID 1 is. But if I put an ID 0, it will work because it's an array. And it deleted it, and now right now it works. So we can see it's a bit clunky, but it works. So now let's go back to our AI, and let's say the same command again. Create a to-do list API in .NET Core 7. Let's see if that will work. I think 7 will not work. It's a bit old. Let's say in .NET Core only. Actually, it started. Oh, okay. So you can see here, because we have given it a much more precise command, we can actually see that we are actually getting the most up-to-date information when it comes to our .NET. So that's really interesting. Perfect. Now we can see that it's actually all working, and I can see directly that we are referencing here the right version of Microsoft, of the right library. We can see that actually inheriting from the right controller base. We can see it actually provided the right information here, the right parameters and the right attributes that we needed. We can see that actually provided the right attribute for every action. So that makes sense. Basically, it duplicated whatever we have done here, which is exactly what we needed. Okay, perfect. So now we can see with much more better commands, we are actually able to get much more precise responses. So the last one that we're going to be requesting from the AI today, and we're going to be see if it's actually able to implement, which is a little bit more complicated than that, which is we're going to see if it actually can implement an example with dependency injection, and we're going to be seeing how if that will work or not. So we're going to say create a let's say an application in .NET Core with dependency injection. And the nice thing about this is I did not specify what type of library for the dependency injection that it needs to create. All I said is go in, create something for me within dependency injection, and it's going to be really interesting to see what type of dependency injection the AI will decide to create for me. So let's see right now. Let's go all the way down. We can see, okay, that's all should be fine. So choose the web one. We can see here MVC, create a controller, my controller, create an generic iService, see get, do something, and then it created a service interface, an implementation, it created an extension, okay, well actually that's really really good. So what it did here is it did not actually give us the full set of code. Okay, that's really interesting. So what it did here, it did not give us the full set of code for our application to run, but what it did is it actually gave us all of the right boilerplate code that we need in order for us to make sure that this service is working. So what we're going to be taking, I'm actually really surprised. So what we're going to be doing here, we're going to take those pieces of code and we're going to put it inside this web API that we currently have, and we're going to be seeing if it's actually, it's going to work or not. So let's first create the interface. So I'm just going to create a new folder. Here, new folder, I'm just gonna call it services, and I'm just gonna be creating here, and let's say, what is it called, an interface, what is it called, iService.cs, and I'm just gonna copy this. I'm just basically copy pasting whatever exists here, and then I'm gonna create this one, which is called myservice.cs, new file, myservice.cs, and let's take this. Perfect. And now I'm just going to create the service extension. New file, service extensions. It even went to the, okay, I need to add the .cs at the end. So let's copy this. Okay, we'll now have to add an extra one at the end. Okay. And all I'm gonna be doing right now is I'm gonna go to my program.cs. I'm gonna put up add my service. And all I'm gonna do right now is go to my controller and I'm gonna inject it similar to the way they injected it. So I'm just gonna copy this. And I'm just gonna take this for us. Oh, let's create a controller, let's create a constructor. And let's inject this service into my constructor. And for the get, I'm gonna just do this, return this service to something before it calculates. Okay. Yeah, actually, yeah, why not? I don't really need to return the list. Okay, let's stop this now. And let's run this again, .NET run. And now it's running. Okay, we have an error. The web application does not contain definition add my service. Okay. So now it's all gonna be a referencing issue. So let's add this here. We're gonna put using to-do list API.services. And now let's run this again. So let's do this in a different way, just to make it save us some time. So let's take this, and I'm gonna remove this. Actually, let's delete this. Let's make it in a different way. So let's delete the service extension, and let us make it this way here. So we can just say app, actually builder.services. We can make it like this. Let's remove this, and that should work. Oops, sorry, S should be capital. And let's delete this line. Let's try again. Okay, less error now. No extension. Is it service or what did I do? See, it's all typos. Let's try this again. Okay, now it's running. So after a lot of trial and error, it's just a bit of trial and error. Let's now go to my web application. Let's go here. And what I'm gonna be doing, just gonna refresh this. And right now I'm just gonna try this out. And I didn't get anything here. I'm gonna click execute. And as you can see here, from the API it said hello from service, and it's actually injected for me. So the concept that the AI have given me was correct. So when it comes to actually implementing a dependency injection, it actually created an interface, it created a service, it gave me the correct way to inject into my services. It had a lot of issues when it comes to actually configuring the right parameters, maybe because it all gave it to me in a single class rather than different folders, but that should be fine. It's a user error or basic interpretation error here. But other than that, we can see that actually giving us a right way to actually inject a service and utilizing a service. And that's basically the main item here, that the AI was able to actually understand what dependency injection is, how to actually utilize inside a controller, and how it can actually be injected. And as you can see from this video here, that although AI is getting more and more advanced and getting much more capabilities than before, it still have some way to go in order for it to actually say try to replace all of us. But in essence here, we can think about this tool as much more of a learning tool where it actually help us understand some of the concepts and give us some boilerplate code where we can actually utilize to jumpstart whatever we need when it comes to programming. So here we can see how it actually created a basic calculator app, then a basic controller, and then some basic regarding dependency injection. And all of that was basically within few lines, within a single command. We got all of the source code available for us. And it's really important for us to understand here that whatever that code that's generated, just a boilerplate or a starting code, it still needs a lot of work before it actually can be utilized. I hope this video was a bit insightful. It's a bit different than the usual one, but basically it allows us to see the different potentials that the AI is going to be able to provide for us on the long run. It's going to give us much more insights on how actually AI can help us write better code on the long run. And we can see this in some of the IntelliSense that the Microsoft is implementing, as well as the GitHub AI tool that you can actually subscribe to and pay money in order for it to help. But this one here is completely free. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like this video. It will really help the channel. Have a great day.